Indeed. We're muted, are we, by the way, Peter? To what is undoubtedly the most exciting Grand Prix of the year we've had so far. Because obviously there's the rest of the year to go, and it looks like we're going to get more of the same. But Silverstone, the British Grand Prix, 71 years since the original first British Grand Prix, and nothing's changed. Nothing has changed at all. It's still a fantastic race, exciting to the last lap. And we're going to discuss that. So welcome to everybody here. Thank you very much, Wild, and gonna go for it. Thank you very much for the likes, subscriptions, and all the rest of it. And we're going to crack on. We're going to crack on because there is a lot to talk about in today's Grand Prix. Welcome to Fabio, of course.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, okay, upbeat Fabio, we're going to call him today. And but we are going to get straight on. I know, unexpected, but there you go. Basically, this weekend was a fantastic weekend. We had the sprint race for the first time, which we will definitely discuss, but probably not for very long. We had a sprint race, and there we go. That's about all to be said about that. Still, qualifying was quite interesting. Fantastic pole lap by the Lewis Hamilton. He got on pole onto sprint race, and unfortunately had a terrible start. The Verstappen of future years of probably world championships was mighty fast off the line, managed to get into first place by the first corner, and simply drove away from the rest of the pack. Lewis was able to keep up, but do nothing, and I mean nothing, to get alongside him, or at least within a shout of him. So a fantastic first win in for the first sprint race, first trials of the sprint race this year. We'll have 3 of those at various races. I believe the next one's Monza. But nonetheless, it was a good win by now. So there were some other interesting things going on. Alonso had a good race in the sprint race, and McLaren's did very well. So they managed to get up the grid. So Verstappen won, which gave him pole position for the British Grand Prix. Lewis was second. I don't know. I can't be bothered with the rest of it. I'll be honest with you. The sprint race bored the tits off me.
Oh,
but nonetheless, well, I'm just saying it was a bit of an anticlimax. I thought they were all going to be on. Viewers of the live stream. I thought it was going to be me that was under investigation there, because you never can tell, can you? Right? It seems like whenever anybody's interested in Mercedes, they're going to get a penalty of some sort. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, actually, they don't. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, so anyway, first off the line, then into the first corner. It was a very close start. Lewis had a brilliant start. Okay, going off topic. Yeah, okay. Anyway, first off was let me just go back because I can't remember what happened in the first corner. Lewis managed to get alongside Verstappen into the first corner, and they tussled for the first time. Into the second corner, Verstappen took the inside. Lewis managed to get the outside. Third corner, same thing again. Except coming out of the third corner, it was along the straight, the back straight. Lewis managed to get a run on Verstappen, managed to get past him at least by half a car's length into that corner. Although Verstappen left his braking late, managed to get past Lewis into that corner, and then it was down onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, and into Copse, where all the action was about to happen. Verstappen tried to block off Lewis, but Lewis managed to find a small gap there. They went into Copse almost side by side going in. Unfortunately, knowing that there wasn't going to be space, it was quite clear. Lewis backed out, but couldn't back out quick enough, and Verstappen, in fact, turned across Lewis in a very harsh way, and managed to almost take Lewis out. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to take Lewis out. And in fact, he was the one that was taken out of the race. His car was absolutely totaled as it flew off the track and a wheel was removed. In fact, weirdly enough, there was enough damage done to the rim for the tyre to come completely off the rim, which I've never seen before. But nonetheless, Verstappen went flying into the barrier, something like a 51 or over 50 G crash. Fortunately for everybody, he was in fact okay. Obviously, whenever there's a crash above 30 G, by mandatory order, the drivers have to be taken to hospital for checks for concussion, etc. And indeed, that's what happened to Verstappen. He was flown to the local hospital in Northamptonshire, and he was checked up. Obviously, it took him. They must have taken some time to do the tests, because nearly an hour and a half later, he was still there. So they were obviously concerned about his condition. But it turns out he is okay, feeling a little sore, one would imagine, for that kind of crash. But fortunately, as I say, he will live to fight another day, which is all we can be thankful for. A lot of controversy over this incident, so I won't go over my particular thoughts on it right now. I'd rather Fabio say what he thinks about it first, and then I will give my.
I honestly don't know why there's been such a lot of controversy. It was basically the same incident that happened 2 years ago in Australia with Vettel and Lewis. Yeah, the same one. I mean that they gave Lewis the exactly same amount of seconds that they gave Vettel. So it has to be the same incident, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, of course. That's pretty
Yeah.
much says it all. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. So I would tend to agree. I actually did think it was a racing incident myself.
Are you shitting me?
No, I'm not shitting you.
Oh.
Well, mainly because if you look at Max's steering wheel, he actually turned hard enough to go to the apex. So he wasn't intending to give Lewis any room. That was my view of it. And Lewis did try to back out as quick as he could once he realised that there was no way he was going to make the corner without going across Max's path.
There might have been a 10%, 20% fault of Max, but it was definitely Lewis' fault. He went in too hard. He also braked. The car oversteered. It was miles, from the curb, and it just, was in the middle of the road. And yeah, Max made the corner. Yeah, I mean, Lewis was basically his front tire was on his back tire, and I mean it's there. I mean you can't know that it's there. You probably presume you can't make that corner at that speed in the position that Lewis was. So yeah, that was totally. I mean, not totally, but at least 80% Lewis' fault.
Okay, well, I mean, I would slightly disagree with that. I don't think. I think it was more Lewis's fault, maybe 60-40 from my view, because as I say, you can see from the steering wheel angle of Verstappen that he wasn't giving Lewis any room, and he could have steered out.
I don't think it's a problem of steering angle. During the race, we had the very same situation with Leclerc and Lewis, but nothing happened because Lewis was well inside the corner, and nothing happened. So Lewis was in the wrong position. He actually had to brake, and the car understeered, so he went forward. He missed the apex by a lot, and it's. I mean, if you see what happened later on with Lewis and Leclerc, you could see the proper racing line that Lewis was supposed to be getting. He just didn't. Keep in mind there was a speed delta at the moment. It was about I think 10 to 15 kilometers an hour. I think before the corner Max was doing 301 and Lewis 315. So there was a massive delta. He thought he could get in. He, I mean, the position he put himself into, it was not possible. He tried to brake because he realized he fucked it up. By braking, he probably, understeer and, and the whole thing happened. I mean, it's I think the Max maneuver, Max tried to win the race, in the first lap, which is wrong. I mean, you don't do that, especially if you got a car like that. But Lewis wants to be remembered, and rightly so, for somebody which has won 7 world titles. That is not something that you do if you win 7 world titles. I mean, I could have expected that from, I don't know, Perez or Mazepin, people like that, but
Okay.
not from Lewis.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's fair enough. I grant some of that, and not all of it by far. I think it's a different situation that, Max could have given more room. I get his steering angle is key to me, because he was not giving enough room for a car's width to get through at the apex. So even if Lewis hadn't have backed out, if he hadn't have backed out, he could have made the apex. It's because he backed out that he didn't make the apex. Like you said, he understeered. And that's why, that's why for me, the front wheel to rear wheel thing, it doesn't matter either, because he backed out. Yeah, okay. Should he have backed out? Well, maybe not. Maybe, but then in backing out, of course, he limited the damage in his car. So maybe there's something in that as well. I don't know. Is it an overtaking place? It certainly is an overtaking place. I've seen many cars overtake there. Lewis himself has overtaken there many times. You can go through that corner too wide, no problem at all. So again, I don't see it the same way. I do think it's Lewis's fault in that he understeered, and that's he could have just not taken his foot off the gas and basically had a bigger crash, probably, and maybe that would have completely secured him for not having the issues that he had in terms of the penalty. But as I say, Lewis's self-preservation kicked in, and I think for that reason he tried to back out of it, and that caused Verstappen to have a bigger crash than he should have had, and it caused Lewis not to crash as much as he did. So for me, that was the point, and it's a first lap incident. So again, that's why I would say it's probably not it's more of a racing incident than it is anything else. There's no way that you couldn't say Lewis wasn't alongside going into the corner, because clearly he was. So just by the modern rules, not old rules, but modern rules, that should have guaranteed at least some more space on that apex than Max was giving, and certainly he was the amount that his steering angle would have given Lewis. And that's why I'm saying, even if Lewis had kept his foot in, they still would have had the accident, and it would have been Max's fault, undoubtedly. However, I don't think they're wrong for the same reasons you say, to give Lewis the 10 place penalty, because he was the car behind when
was
the
10
accident.
seconds. I mean, I wish it was 10 place. It was 10 seconds.
And it virtually was anyway. But yeah, I sent 10-second penalty. I think that is the correct decision. I did think at the time 10 seconds, and then afterwards I thought, oh, hang on a minute, because it's been such a consequential crash to the World Championship. They'll probably give him a stop-go penalty, or I thought at the time they'd give them a drive-through penalty. And then afterwards I thought, oh, actually no, bearing in mind the new rules, actually 10 seconds is probably the right thing. However, we're lucky he did, because that made for a great rest of the race, which I'll just go on with quickly. Go on.
No, sorry. I was just laughing because you mentioned that he was lucky. Of course he's lucky. It's Lewis Hamilton. Nothing happens to his car. And also there is a red flag after that, and nothing happens to him. Like nothing happens. That guy, that car is totaled. It's probably $1 million dollars worth of damages, and they had to repair a sensor, the laser for the tires with some duct tape, and that's pretty much it, which was
Oh, and
amazing. But I think,
the rim was cracked as well.
oh yeah, fuck yeah, the rim, yeah, no, yeah, that was a bummer. I think that one of the funniest thing which has happened is they aired the communication between Honor and Mazzy and
Oh,
Wolf and Mas,
brilliant.
and
Can we
the
get to that
one.
Yeah, go on then.
No,
I want to get to the rest of the race so we can get through it all in one
okay,
go.
okay, no, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Can you? Yeah, can you? Let's just wait for that because
Yeah.
there's a lot more besides that to say about the communications. Okay, so anyway, as Fabio said, there was a red flag because of that accident. It took a long time, A, to get the car out, B, the car might have been in a dangerous condition, and C, Verstappen needed to be taken out of there in an ambulance, of course, because as I said, although he walked out, he was clearly shaken, as anybody would be with a 50G accident. And by regulations, anybody that suffers from such a large crash or such a large G-forces has to be taken to hospital for checkups. So that took a long time, and they were obviously correct to stop the race. Then on restart, of course, it was a fantastic Leclerc in first place, who I thought again drove a fantastic race. Was unlucky in some respects because, well, we'll get to why he was unlucky and afterwards. So Leclerc, who managed to pass Lewis, who was in third place, he managed to pass Lewis, and Verstappen, of course, having crashed and get into first place, was on pole position. Lewis in second place. So obviously, we all thought that was going to be pretty much how it went, and in fact, it was. Only with Norris creeping up to third place, ahead of Bottas, and the race went on. Leclerc just steamed away. He was fast as that Ferrari. Whatever they've done to it, they've worked miracles because it was very easy on its rubber. Very easy,
It was
very
very
easy.
efficient, yeah, especially on the medium tires. I think it was the fastest car I had, even if I think that
over a run, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it was fastest because the car was actually fastest than the Mercedes. I think that Lewis just managed the tires, and I mean that's pretty much it. I don't think the car was fast. It was a well balanced car. Yeah, that goes without saying. And even if Max would have stayed in the race, it would have probably made the third place, which was quite amazing. He got
potentially.
Yeah, I mean he
I think
drove
they would have
ahead.
been I think it would have been undercut by Mercedes if he had stayed in the race with
Well,
Verstappen and Lewis.
I don't know. I mean, Bottas was just non-existent. just for the fact
Well,
that
he was there. I mean, he was there. He just wasn't putting in anything stellar.
Yeah,
so.
Like a mobile chicane, basically.
I think well, yeah, but I think he would have kept up. That would have been my point. But anyway, let's get through the race. Okay, so wherever we were, that was it. Vettel and Alonso were going at it. Vettel got a bit keen on the throttle, span his car. Alonso tried to overtake the McLarens, but didn't manage to do it. But it was a very good race from Alonso nonetheless.
Oh yeah, especially in the sprint race, he got from 11th to 5th on the Saturday before. He made granted, he started with the red tires, but eventually he ended up 7th, which is from 11th to 7th was massive. So yeah,
a good weekend indeed for Alonso. Okay, so then the McLaren's doing very well as well. Just to put that out there, had very fast cars. Norris in third place, Ricciardo in 5th place with Bottas in the sandwich. Anyway, then Norris comes in for pit. Unfortunately, has a very long pit. Well, I say very long, over 4 seconds, probably 4.5 seconds in the pit, stationary. And that gave the option then for Bottas to come in and pit in the next lap, which he did. They had a normal pit stop, 2.5 seconds, whatever 2.2, and that allowed Bottas to get past. And of course, overtaking here, unless you've got some significant speed difference, is going to be difficult. Okay, so then onwards, we come to lap 28 when. I mean, basically, a 52 lap race, lap 28, so that's over halfway. A couple of laps past the halfway distance. So Lewis managed to make the softs last that long, which was a pretty damn good job, considering 4 laps minus 4, 22 laps on the softs. So that's not bad. Very good tyre conservation. And that allowed him to put the hard tyres on in lap 28. So relatively short stint to go. And this turned out to be the crucial point about his thing. It was a slow stop, still 4.5 seconds plus the 10-second penalty, so 14.5 seconds. But nonetheless, he managed to get going with his white tyres on and plenty of rubber left for the rest of the race. And that allowed him to push like a maniac and catch up with Leclerc. In fact, he did catch up with Leclerc 3 laps from the finish, and he kind of caught 3 laps, closed in on him on that fight on the third lap before the end, and was well within DRS on 2 laps to go, and that left him for a fairly easy overtake down one of the straights, which in fact he did. Well, in fact, he overtook him at Copse. So again, going down Sir Lewis Hamilton straight into Copse. Leclerc tried to hang on, but didn't cause a crash, unlike some other Max Verkrashen did. Maxident Verkrashen, I'm going to call him for today's race, and actually gave Lewis room on the inside, and it's sorry, no, don't apologise, Robert. You could be a Verstappen fan all you like. That's absolutely fine. We enjoy the descent. So thank you very much for coming in. And if there's any comments you want us to read out, Robert, please put it in there, and we'll give it as much as we can. Nonetheless, Leclerc did go wide. He actually ran off the track trying to give Lewis room. So obviously that's what would have happened to Max if he'd given room. And then Lewis managed to get through. A very good overtake. I thought Lewis was quite clever there, actually, because he went down the inside, then backed out again, leaving. I know he's just going to write a thing. Okay, no problem. Oh, God, sorry. Yeah, so it was a good overtake, and then Lewis, an easy win in the end, probably by about 4.5 seconds or so, to win the British Grand Prix. And to win the British Grand Prix for the 8th time, which is in fact a record at one circuit for any race driver in Formula One. So yet another record for Lewis Hamilton, the all-conquering, the best racing driver of all time ever, if not the greatest human being that's ever lived, including Jesus. And that is basically my race recap. There is a lot more to it than that, of course, and Fabio, I dare say, will correct me on most of it. So over to you, Fabio. Sir Lewis Hamilton, the greatest race driver that has ever lived and the best human being ever.
I don't know if he's the greatest. He surely is the luckiest because, apparently, it's fucking amazing how nothing happens to him, even if, he just smashes car left, front, and center, and nothing happens to him, which is, wow, okay, fair enough. I think it's because it's vegan.
I'm sorry, I just have to mention one thing. Lewis managed to close the gap down to 8 points, I believe, to Verstappen. So Verstappen went from a 33 points to an 8-point gap, which is great for the championship. I got to say, for the neutral.
Yeah, Verstappen also went into the wall, thanks to Lewis, but and 8 points. But yes, the only thing that you haven't mentioned, I think, is Ricciardo made a nice race. He felt the car way more. Sainz was a lot unlucky. He lost a lot of positions in the sprint race because of, I think, Russell, which was later penalized of 3 positions. And he also had problems in changing the tires. if that would not have happened, I think it would have been right there with the McLarens and probably get some more points for Ferrari, against McLaren. I mean, it was going, he had a fairly decent pace, but unfortunately he had to start, from way down in the grid, and then, we spent, I think, 20 seconds there, the problem with the rear tire. And yeah, there was that. Some other thing, Alonso was super impressive, uh, both in the sprint race and in the proper race. And Kimi Raikkonen with Perez, that was bloody amazing. I mean, Perez thought, yeah, I'm gonna dispose of the guy, really easily in the corners. That wasn't the case, because Kimi actually, it was a little bit harder to skin Kimi than Perez thought. Other things that popped to my mind, yeah, best overtake. I think it was the one that Ricciardo made, I think, on Alonso. Thing. That was fucking brilliant. It just, passed him like there was no fucking tomorrow. I think it was a. No, it wasn't Cox. It was some other corner over there, but it was. I think it was the best overtake of the race, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The other thing worth mentioning were, as I said before, the amusing communications that followed the incident, and there was one that really, it made my day, because I mean, I probably lost 10 minutes of what I was happening, because I was crying my ass off, and that was the radio communication of Toto Wolff with Michael Masi. And Toto Wolff basically telling Masi, "Oh, have you checked your email? Because I sent you some data of Lewis, breaking stuff." And Masi, I mean, you could hear in the voice, it was totally blown away. He said, "Is this guy an idiot?" He said, "Well, Toto, I don't look at the emails while doing this job, because I've got to pay attention to what's happening on the track." And Toto said, "No, but it's really important." And yeah, Michael Masi said, "Well, listen, if you want, you can print it out and bring it to me," which was actually what he did. So yeah, that was fucking brilliant. It was incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what possessed Toto Wolff to say, "Have you checked your email?"
well, I tell you what possessed him. Ted actually mentioned it, which was Toto went to go to the stewards and couldn't find it. He couldn't remember where the stewards were, and apparently he started heading up the stairs towards the media center, and then Ted stopped him and went, "Hang on, where are you going?" And obviously he said stewards, and he went, "Well, the stewards aren't there; they're down the other end." So I think the reason he sent him an email was because he wanted to get it in quick before any decisions were made. And the email, hang on. The email was about the actual rules and what the rules say. So I would be very surprised if Michael Masi didn't already know them, right? So
yeah, there is that.
But even then, it's a useless email, right? It's very much like saying, "Oh, by the way, there's a Nigerian prize for you of 2,000 Krugers." Anyway,
and also, I mean, so the two things. I think that it got lost after the communication, because at least the Italian commentator said, after the communication went on, said, "Oh, yeah, I'm seeing Toto running, to the media center." So I think it was after that. And the second thing is that if Toto really emailed Michael Masi the rules, that is even a more stupid move than I thought it would be. Because there is a guy which has to take a decision on your driver, right? What can you do to piss him off? Oh, remind him of the rules. Yeah, that would put him in a good mood, right?
Well, there's another thing on top of that, right? Which is Michael Masi is not the guy that takes the decision. He's the race director, not the steward.
Right.
So even then, it doesn't make any sense, right? But I think Toto felt under pressure, having heard the two Red Bull communications from,
Right.
well, I say communications, I meant whinges, because they are, of
Hmm.
course, both British.
Well,
And basically whinging, saying, "Oh, come on now, it's cops. No one overtakes at cops." That's fucking wrong straight away.
no, it
And
is
then,
wrong.
and
You're
then
right.
that's the first thing. And then the other guy said, "Look, I've watched this back in replay lots of times, and the more I see it, the more convinced I am that Verstappen is totally in the right and Lewis is totally wrong." And the more when I heard that again, that made me feel about laughing, because I'm like, well, of course that's what you're going to think. You're in Red Bull. I
I
mean,
Yeah, but
absolutely. What else would you say?
no, but
So
yeah,
again,
I don't.
pointless communications all round, I felt.
Yeah, but I don't blame the guys. I don't blame owner,
That's what
for
you're gonna
saying what
do.
he said,
That's what you're
because
gonna do.
even
Yeah,
if he didn't. Okay, so let's presume that he didn't want to say that to push it, which was the reason. You are the team manager of a driver, and you just saw your driver smashing into the walls,
yeah,
51 Gs. I mean, you will say everything, right? And
absolutely, completely,
you are
completely.
you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
I was actually really taken away by the fact that it was that calm, because
He
if that
wasn't.
happened, no, but if that happened to people like, I don't know, Steiner, or even the guy, I can't remember the guy which runs Renault, it would have probably been like 10 minutes of beeping, and then saying what he
Yeah.
had to say. It would have been way more.
Well, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, calm. I didn't get calm from it for a start. You could hear his voice was trembling a bit, and he was trying to hold it back. So
Oh yeah,
clearly,
I mean,
he was in control, and that's a good job too, because of course, penalties like that aren't decided on the results, right? Verstappen could have been completely out for the rest of the season, and that shouldn't have come into the decision of the stewards as to the rightness or wrongness of the actions by Lewis or whoever. And that's why I get this one. And I'd like you to read the quote that you put up, because I'd kind of forgotten about it, which is the quote from Helmut, which
mhm.
came out halfway through the race.
It
So,
says you can't do that with normal sporting code. I don't know what the maximum penalty will be, but such dangerous and reckless behavior should be punished with a suspension or something. Helmut Marko told Sky Germany, if a competitor massively touches our rear wheel with his front wheel, then that's no longer a racing accident in the fastest corner of the track. That is negligent to dangerous behavior. Which, listen, it's Helmut Marko. I don't like Helmut Marko.
yeah, it's
I'm,
exactly. I mean,
but,
it's just
no,
ridiculous. It's
listen,
ridiculous, and
it's,
it's trying to clear the pitch, as we say in cricket.
well,
All right,
I'm,
and I'm sure Christian Horner would agree with me. He knows the rules of cricket. It's not something you do. And to be honest with you, were trying to take as much advantage from the immediate emotional result of the crash, looking at Max Verstappen's condition, as possible, right? Which I find as detestable as afterwards them saying about Lewis, well, he shouldn't have been celebrating. Max Verstappen came out with a quote saying he was in hospital still, right? As if that's meant to that's meant to mean something, right? Of course, Lewis is going to celebrate. He's in front of the home crowd. He's won the race. Okay, fair and squared, despite the penalty. He's managed to get through and win the race and make this championship more exciting. That's fair enough. And I just feel that Red Bull were really showing their bad sportsmanship on that side, both from Helmut and from Verstappen's. Undoubtedly, he didn't actually want to say it. I don't
I,
put this to Verstappen. I don't
I
think he's that
disagree.
kind of a guy. I think he's been told by Helmut to say this, and convinced that this is the right thing to say to put psychological and emotional pressure onto Lewis.
I disagree. It's ridiculous. Of course, they do that to push some kind of decision, which might come afterwards, and I get it.
They can't. It
I
can't.
don't.
It can't come afterwards. It can't come
I,
afterwards,
I
right?
don't find. I don't
Sorry.
find that.
I've got to stop you there. It can't come afterwards, right? Once the stewards have made a decision, that's it. They've ruled on the decision. If it's a 10-second penalty, that's the end of it, right there.
Again, I don't find that ridiculous at all. The way the accident developed was undoubtedly dangerous. I don't know if it's negligent, but it was a dangerous behavior from Lewis. As I said, I think he put himself in a position where he should not have been. He knew full well he would not have been there. And the proof is in the fact that at lap 50, the same very thing happened, and he was in a very different position, and he behaved in a very different way than the one he behaved, at the first lap with Max Verstappen. So, was it negligent? I don't know. Was it dangerous? Fuck yeah, it was. Just because he happened to be in a place where he was not supposed to be, and there is the fact that if a guy which has won 7 world titles is not a guy at his first race, and he should not have been there. We gave hell to Sebastian, for his reactions in Baku and in Australia. I mean, I don't think that Lewis can get a pass out of that. Let's have Peter jump in.
Yes, I think so. I mean, again, I think calling for a suspension like that is disingenuous. That's the first thing. The guy had already been penalised, so I don't know what Helmut is expecting to do other than to sway people's opinion and media opinion, because there's nothing more that can be done in terms of the rules. So I think that's bad sportsmanship. It's Helmut. He is a bad sportsman. We've seen it many times, the way he comments on things after the effect. Never actually to make a valid point beforehand, but always afterwards to try and spin things and make the media jump his way rather than somebody else's way. I don't blame him for that. That's part of the Formula One sport. So on he goes, and this is exactly actually the kind of comment I think which he's famous for. So in that way, if a competitor massively touches our rear wheel with his front wheel, then that's no longer a racing accident. That's just bollocks. That is absolutely bollocks. And fastest corner, yeah, many overtakes have happened there. Going back, I remember Mansell in the 80s overtaking in that exact corner. Lewis, going back 15 years, well, maybe 10 and 12 years, also overtaking in junior formulae there. I've seen many overtakes at this corner, so I just don't think you can get 2 cars going wide. I don't think, as I said, if Lewis hadn't have backed out, then he would have been at the apex. The reason he backed out is because he knew Max wasn't going to give him room, and then he'd already committed to it. The rules strictly state if you get your car alongside somebody else's car, then you've got right. You've got right to the corner. That's it.
He backed out because he had no downforce, and he was already outside the racing line, so he had to back out. So that is not a thing. So that's why I say that somebody which has won 7 world titles has to know better, because you put yourself in a position where an accident is prone to happen. You are well behind the guy. The guy can't see you because he can't see you. He saw you braking. He don't know where the fuck you are, and he's just making the corner. You can't blame on the guy which is making the proper racing line, which is what Max did.
No, he wasn't well behind him though.
Oh yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yes. No.
Going into the corner, he was alongside him, like fully alongside him, front wheel to front wheel. And Lewis could have gone through there at full speed, even from that angle. But of course, he would have not been able to give Max a car's width, which is why he backed out. In my opinion. Again, we're talking opinions here, the what ifs.
Yeah, no, of course.
And I can see why people are going to go the other way with it, and that's not a real issue for me. People did go the other way. The stewards, they gave him a penalty for it, so that's fair enough. Justice has been done in that respect. So whatever. I'm glad Lewis did it. I'll be honest with you. I'm glad Lewis did it because Max has been doing this for several races now, which is not giving people room that are trying to overtake him. And he did this in the first 2 years of his career. He was driving exactly the same way, and it was deemed to be dangerous back then. He changed how he drove, and we all thought that's great. And now we're getting back to that. Oh, he's not giving people room. So that's not in the modern rules, especially now. Even then, it wasn't. It wasn't. The rules weren't that way before when he was told to stop doing it. Now he is. Now it's in the rules, and he has to do it. I'm glad he's been told. And will it change his behaviour? No, I don't think it will. Will we see a crash at Hungary? Yes, we probably will. Hungary especially is the kind of track where if you try and go around the outside of someone, it's very easy to run them off the road. So especially in the first 3-4 corners.
Can you? Sorry, Peter. Can you show my the screen I'm showing?
Okay, so that's kind of my take on what's going on. Obviously, I respect you immensely, Fabio. Let's see what you've got here, and I'm not saying it's not Lewis's fault in terms of what actually happened, but there we are.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man.
No, that's it. We got it there. We got it here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Anyway, I mean that. Yeah. Again, I think it will be going. I don't think it'll change Max at all. He will be really pissed off, and he'll want to run Lewis off the road at the first opportunity he gets. And Hungary is the type of place where that can be done relatively easy. Schumacher, of course, famous for running a couple of people off the road there, and almost one person, Massa, into the wall. I believe it was Hungary that happened as well. So it's the kind of circuit which is a go-kart circuit, basically, isn't it? Go-kart circuit for Formula One cars.
It's a really shitty circuit. It's one of those, Tilke circuit. I think it was one of the first Tilke circuit, which I love so much. The only good thing which might get up from Hungary is the fact that it might be favorable to Ferrari. So I mean, the fight for the third place in the championship should be interesting. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so Peter, it's not a big. Oh, okay, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. So I mean, this is just and listen, we know we're talking about the same thing basically, but that's the thing which I was saying. So around here, I think it was behind, and this is the thing which is bothering me more. The amount of space that he left here is because he lost downforce. He brake and he understeered. When Lewis passed Leclerc two laps from the end, actually Lewis' car was right here, and there is a massive difference, in this position. So yeah. Anyway. I think it was just poor judgment, and the only thing I'm glad about is that nobody really got hurt, and both of them, and yeah.
Yeah, but you can see in that first shot, Lewis is more than enough alongside, and that gives him the right to the corner, as far as I'm concerned, by the modern rules.
Well, it's still I mean, it's basically here. In the first shot, they're right here. So
yeah, but back at that first marker, that's where they start turning in. So they're already turning in by the first
they're
shot
turning
here.
in. They're turning in here.
No. No. They're already well turning in by that. That second shot is where Max has turned out and then started turning back in again.
Yeah, but that's
so
exactly.
So Max has already started turning in.
So this is what Lewis should have done, and Lewis actually does that, and this is where he finds himself, and this is the thing which I think it's problematic for Lewis, because he was here. He's not supposed to be here. He's supposed to be here. you know.
I
And
agreed. Agreed. I'm not disputing that at all. I'm just saying that he can't get there because he's trying to back out. Now he could have got there if he hadn't have backed out. He could have just used the downforce, gone through the corner. But because he slammed on, right, or really took his foot off the accelerator, which is the same sort of thing, that caused him to understeer, and
yeah,
that's
a
what put
really
him out
really
there.
bad.
Now,
Yeah,
the
okay,
reason
yeah,
why did he do that? Because he saw Max turning in on him. Now Max started to turn in on him and then turned out. Right, so in that split second, that's
I
all I'm saying. In that split
I
second,
disagree.
Lewis took the opportunity, or decided to back out of the corner as much as he could, and at that point, Max had already started turning back in again. Right, and if you look at that, if you look at Max's trajectory in that second shot, you can see his trajectory is actually to go through the corner. Is
Oh
to go
yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
is to go to the apex. So
yeah, but this is
he doesn't even think that Lewis is going to be there.
no. Listen, this is the trajectory you keep when you are outside. So this is what he has to do. There
Yeah.
is no, because if not, is gonna end up here. You know, the same way that Leclerc did
Okay.
to. So I just well
I
anyway. Listen,
disagree. I disagree. If you're
okay.
looking board, you can see him turning and putting in a large amount of lock steering on that turning. So I think he's actually headed in that second shot much more towards the apex. That's would be my guess, and I think he's done that because he thinks he's seen Lewis off the corner, and indeed he would have done had Lewis been able to slow down enough. Unfortunately, Lewis wasn't able to slow down enough, and that's why they collided the way they did, which is just extremely unfortunate. Which is why I would have thought it's a racing incident in that respect. But I understand that Lewis should have not done that. He should have not have backed out. He should have just kept his foot in and gone to the apex, knowing and trusting that Max would have, turned out of the corner again, right? Once he's seen he was still there. But hey, who knows? As I say, who knows? I agree that it looks really bad, and it's a dodgy corner to be doing at best. So I think the 10-second penalty. Okay, I don't necessarily agree. First lap incident like that, I don't think I would agree that it should be a 10-second penalty, but it is consistent, as you said, with other crashes that have happened in Formula One on the first lap.
Yeah.
Therefore, okay, fair enough. You know what I mean? And as it turns out, it gave us an exciting race because Leclerc almost won it, which would have been fantastic if he did. And I'm glad glad Lewis managed to get past nonetheless. Okay, so thank you so much, Fabio. Strong disagreement with you, but nonetheless, I respect what you've said, and yeah, I think Max was just extremely unlucky, and we'll go from there. Do you think Max is likely to like get angry with Lewis and maybe have another incident in the next battle they have together?
Oh yeah, I think that the war is on. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind about it.
Yeah.
So that should make for some interesting races. Unfortunately, I think that Max is fighting a war which is already losing because, I mean, Lewis has got a a massive amount of luck on his side because apparently nothing fucking happens to him any time. So yeah, I wouldn't want to fight that war if it were Max. No,
Yeah, and
the odds
again,
are real.
absolutely amazing that Lewis's front suspension didn't actually take a real fucking hit. Absolutely amazing. Although most of the damage was done to Max's car in the gravel. So let's just put that well in terms of the wheel, and then obviously the rest on the side of it was
Yeah.
done with the impact. But nonetheless, Lewis is very lucky. Normally, when you hit suspension, front suspension at that angle, they're very weak. So normally you do get it. But then I guess Mercedes know what Lewis is like. I don't know, or they know what Max is like, one or the other. Okay, thank you so much for that, Fabio. Let's get to our roving reporter, who I believe he's staying with me this weekend because he's been actually in Silverstone, I believe. So over to you, Peter. Are you there, mate? Could you come in quickly? And I don't know why I've got three. I'm very confused by the screen layout right now. So I need you to.
There we
Oh
go.
no! Do you want to swap me out for the other screen because
Do I want to show?
something's going on? Oh,
Hold
swap
on.
the big first screen for the. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So welcome. Oh, and I see you're still at the at Silverstone.
I,
I thought you'd have already started back to my place by
I'm
now.
yeah, I'm still at Silverstone because there's still a lot of stuff happening right here. So we'll get to the crash because I've got some things to say about that too. First, I want to deal with that thing there behind me.
Yeah,
They
looks
presented
good.
it in daylight, which when it looks pretty nice. It was mostly white. But once you get it under artificial light, it looks like that. I mean, I don't know who came up with that livery. I think they caught Boris Johnson while he was fully pumped up with meth and gave him a bunch of crayons, and this is what the end effect was. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I actually think they've done that because they know that isn't what the car's going to look like
I should hope not.
when the teams actually. Well, no, not the livery, the actual shape of it.
Well,
I think when the teams actually come up with their final designs, it's not going to look too much. It'll look a little bit like that, but not really. There'll
I
be
mean,
many more. There'll be many more features on it that they're just not there right now.
well, so I did have something because so let's have a look at the front
Oh,
and not with
there you
all
go.
the stupid lights on it. I did see something familiar. Did you notice it? The front
Carry
wing.
on.
The front wing.
No, I don't. Front wing, yeah.
Yeah, it's
2022.
quite in line with other things in Formula One.
I see. I'm with you.
And yeah, so first,
That's Chase Carey,
yeah,
by the way, who is the CEO of the company that owns Formula One.
exactly. I thought Mercedes was behind it, so I did ask Mercedes for a response, and for some reason, they sent me this. So that was all I got. What did happen, because I asked people on Twitter. Some guy with I saw a logo of a bike company on it. Said it was his design and it was completely original. This guy that he came up with it, but yeah, I don't think so. I did see him once with that bike logo. So,
Oh,
but
I wish I had my energy drinks here, but
yeah,
I
see, okay.
don't.
Yeah, so another thing that I noticed is because what a lot of people don't know, the UK is the country in Europe where most convertibles are sold. Because the people in the UK love their convertibles. Yet, when they go to a race, they all bring umbrellas. And there's a
Oh
good
yeah.
reason for that. There's a good reason for that because we saw the crash of Max, and what we didn't see was from this point of view, because there was a little bit more flying than just Max. So let's see it from how the people had that. And if you look closely, you can see the gravel hitting the audience. So yeah, if you want to get stoned to death, you might want to visit Silverstone. Yeah, so
Oh yeah, that guy looked like he got his phone crashed.
yes. Well, it happens. If you want to get close up to the action, you're going to get the action. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you
Not that
mentioned
close either.
you mentioned the emails. I showed that earlier. The thug life of Michael Massey when the whole email thing came up. But on Twitter there was a lot more going on because obviously Lewis was really happy, and so they tweeted that Lewis had won, and I think Red Bull Germany now has an opening for someone who manages their Twitter, because here we see it. Lewis, we've got the best crowd here. It's a dream to win in front of them all. And then we got Red Bull Germany, 3 clown faces. That was their response.
Oh.
So, I mean,
that's yeah.
That might be a thing. But as I told you earlier
Not
in
good.
the week, because I saw this coming, we all know that Lewis is a big fan of social media, and so he was a bit taken aback with the fact that Red Bull is so strong at this moment, and he was thinking that there might be a little bit of foul play that Max got to the position where he is right now. So he asked his followers on social media if they had any video, any compromising video involving Max Verstappen. And guess what they came up with? Have a look. So there we go. Oops, there goes Grosjean into the wall.
No! Splendid.
This was Ericsson.
There was absolutely not. I
Whoops.
think we could be looking at the DRS failure.
Hi.
The rear wing flap has not.
There you go. See, Sainz. Oh, kick in the nuts. Lewis Hamilton. There we go. Nice spin for Lewis. And yeah, even Raikkonen. Look. Yeah, but the old guy could handle the second kick. That's where you see when you got a driver with experience. This one here, he had help. Look, boom, both wheels. There you go. That's how Verstappen works, and that's how he got into this position. And
That's how we got into Red Bull. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, look how it was oscillating,
Let's get
Martin,
Vettel.
before, and you could see the vibration.
That's your front spoiler, and I wanted to ask him for a response, but when I did, he slowly backed off. So yeah, that was pretty much what I came up with. But so another thing, when you're
Very nice.
at the track, you see a lot, and I wasn't the only one, by the way, because remember Max Chilton from a couple of years back?
I do. Yes, he's
Yeah.
now in IndyCar, of course. Yeah.
Yes, he was also there, and he made a video because apparently there's a driver, and we saw it because of the results. Max obviously crashed, but who was second to last this week? Do you know?
Perez? No. Yeah, Perez, was it?
Nope. It
Well,
was
we didn't mention Perez.
It was well Fabio did. He put him on an equal line with Mazepin. I don't know, that's going to get you in trouble with Perez. But no, I was talking about a 4-time world champion who came in pretty much last, and I think what they did is they adjusted his pay as well, because I saw him arrive at Silverstone, and where all of the others have their nice company cars, here we see Sebastian Vettel. He can't afford a car anymore. He has to, that's Max Chilton, by the way, who took the video. Yeah, he has to ride a bike to work. No more fancy cars. This is how you can sink, and it gets worse than that, because after the race, obviously there's a lot to be cleaned up. And look, I had this footage of this guy who was cleaning
that's
up
nice
the
of him.
stands. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you think that wasn't him, I have pictures. So there we have Seb Vettel cleaning up Silverstone, and he had his assistant helping as well. So
Yeah. He's a
See,
good guy.
there's-
Vettel's a good guy.
he's
Yeah.
he's a good guy.
He's a superstar. He's a
Yeah.
superstar. And also to be totally fair to Sebastian, especially in Silverstone, short of having an helicopter, probably the bicycle is the fastest way to go everywhere.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
that place is fucking mental.
It's the same way here in Holland. But Here's the thing. So we're getting close to the summer break. So I
Okay.
know there's still a bet going on.
Yeah. No,
Simons,
I'm
how
just.
confident are you?
Well, I'm very confident from what I've
Oh.
heard. Yeah, from what I've heard, George Russell has been putting a lot of pressure on Mercedes. And I'm very confident that he will be signing a deal very shortly with Mercedes.
I want to propose a
So,
bet. I want to propose a bet as well. I'm going to
Okay.
bet you that Red Bull before the summer break is going to throw in the towel and hand the world championship over to Lewis. What do you think?
Before the recommencement, after the summer break.
No, before the summer break. They're going to call it quits. They're going to make Max back off and have Lewis win the world championship.
Okay. Yeah. What are we betting for? Just so I know.
That's
I
a
don't
very
know.
interesting bet.
Yeah,
Intrigued.
I'm intrigued
I'm
already.
intrigued.
I think there may be a setup coming, so I'm
I
gonna be cautious.
I think he's fucking you up really slowly.
I
but
think
yeah.
I think I win that bet.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I know I will win that bet because I don't know if
Okay.
you've been watching.
Probably not.
Christian Horner kind of gave it away. Have a look.
Max has incurred a 51G accident. Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world champion.
Did you hear what he said?
Wow.
World champion. Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world champion. Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world
Brilliant.
champion.
Oh, that's brilliant, Peter.
There we
That
are.
is well found. I watched it at the time and didn't even think I was concentrating on the 51G. I didn't even know that he said that.
See,
So
I mean, I
don't-
always watch Ted Kravitz. He has the best news. If the race is over, you need to watch what else happened that no one saw, but he saw it. And yeah,
Okay.
I have to say, even Kravitz didn't notice.
Yeah, I didn't. Again, I watched that at the time and just went, "Oh yeah, okay, brilliant. Yeah. 51G. Okay."
Yeah.
Didn't even think about the number of times. 8. He really said 8. I thought he said 7. To be fair, so maybe that's some editing. I don't know.
No. So he gave 2 interviews, and at the same spot in the first one, because I wanted to have the clip, and then I thought that I had found it. In the first one, he actually said 7 times world champion.
Okay.
And
okay.
in the one in Ted's notebook, he said 8th, and I found it. So
Well done.
there was no
Well done
editing.
indeed.
There was no editing. This was literally what he said.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't take that bet then. Although I kind of wish I have now, because now I know what you're referring to. I would have obviously claimed that as a victory. But no,
Well-
I still think we've got time yet. It's another 4 weeks. We got what, 2 weeks to the Grand Prix, and then
2
another
weeks.
3 weeks after that.
Yeah.
So we've got 5 weeks before the bet is officially done. And we got another 2 weeks.
You
before
already
I have
lost.
to-
I just proved it to you. You already lost. They're chucking in the
Okay.
towel. No, so I'll.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take you for a ride and
I
let
was
you
talking
pay
about
more.
the one with Fabio. I wouldn't take money from you for that. But
No,
okay.
no, you need the money to pay off Fabio, and you need to ship it to Italy. All that.
I am partially to stouts and porters. Just let you know.
Stout and what?
Or a
Porters.
porter. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure what a porter is, but okay.
It's kind of a stout.
Is it okay? Right. I basically, my brother is into IPAs, and he knows a lot. So I'm just going to go to him and say, "Give me, how many did we bet? Was it one bottle?"
I don't know. Yeah, 1 bottle is enough.
Yeah. Oh, fuck off. I'm not shipping 1 bottle to Italy just for the fucking sake of it. Fuck that. But I'll get a case of fucking whatever it is that he decides is the best stuff to send you.
Okay.
And
fair enough.
hopefully that'll be that'll be great. But there's
see-
still 5. There is still, I count them. 5. count them. Yes, there you go. 5 weeks left before that necessarily becomes the case. So
you should have bet him
I'm
a
partial-
bottle of
I'm-
lager instead, and then buy it in Germany and then send it to him, and then he would have gotten a case of fucking hell.
Yeah, that's very true. I should have bet him. I should have bet him one
It's-
can of Mercedes beer.
No. There's a beer in Germany called fucking hell.
Yeah, it's called fucking hell. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
is there really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, I was thinking of stout and Bishop's Tipple, as we call it here. Anyway,
there is a beer from a brewery in Scotland which is called Sink the Tear Pits. That might do. It's not exactly destroy the Mercedes, but it's Sink the Tear Pits. It's good enough.
fuck it out. Why do people go? Anyway, let's not get that. All I've got to say is, thank you so much. Any finishing comments for everybody? Because we need to wrap this up. We're over an hour now already.
No,
So
I'm super fine. Yeah.
okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Fabio. Peter.
I'm fine. I hope that next time I'm going to have my trusted crash barrier back, because I did bring it with me, but some guy in a Honda drove into it, and I hear there's a tiny dent in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much for making the trip to Britain and getting to Silverstone for us, Peter. We really appreciate that. 2 weeks' time is the next race, which is Budapest, probably Hungary.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
Circuit Magia Najal or something like that. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but something like that. And funnily enough, I actually remembered I said Castellet about the French Grand Prix recently, and I thought, why would I think it's Castellet? That's because that's what the circuit used to be called before
Yeah.
Bernie
Oh.
bought it.
Le Castellet.
Yeah, Le Castellet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Amazingly, I managed to get something right without knowing it, which
Yeah.
would probably be the case if actually Mercedes decide to sign.
I mean, it's like Lewis Hamilton. You're British.
George
It's
Russell.
probably just luck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I say so much. Eventually, something I say has got to be right. That's my basic strategy. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Peter, for your wonderful entertainment there, and thank you, Fabio. We will see everybody in 2 weeks' time at Budapest for more of the Crash Dummies racing, I guess.
Catch you later.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.